Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. I want to talk to you about the livingness there is in being yourself. This comes from the book The Hidden Power by Thomas Troward. And my coach, mentor, and the master teacher in personal development, Bob Proctor, used to suggest that people read this often. Yourself. It's a chapter in Thomas Troward's The Hidden Power. I want to talk to you about the livingness there is in being yourself. It has at least the merit of simplicity, for it must surely be easier to be oneself than to be something or somebody else. Yet that's what so many are constantly trying to do. The self that is their own is not good enough for them, and so they're always trying to go one better than what God has made them, with endless strain and struggle as the consequence. Of course, they are right to put before them an ideal infinitely grander than anything they have yet attained. The only possible way of progress is by following an ideal that is always a stage ahead of us. But the mistake is in not seeing that its attainment is a matter of growth. And that growth must be the expansion of something that already exists in us, and therefore implies our being what we are and where we are as its starting point. This growth is a continuous process, and we cannot do next month's growth without first doing this month's. But we're always wanting to jump into some ideal of the future, not seeing that we can reach it only by steadily going on from where we are now. Let's take a deep breath and settle into that idea. Take a deep breath in, holding it at the top for a moment and letting it go. Relaxing into being enough. Take another deep breath in. And let that go. You have been created by divine intelligence, by God, by spirit, and there is a spark of the infinite spirit within you. When you tap into that divine love, that infinite divine, your heart and your brain in coherence with love, light, possibility, infinite, infinite. When you tap into that source energy, then you can feel that you are enough. You are worthy. You are here for a purpose. Yes, there's something that you want. There are all kinds of things that you want because that is the spirit inside of you, always looking for expansion and further expression. The universe is constantly expanding. The universe feels like it's picking up speed. We are living in a world that is moving faster and faster, and more things are being created. And that's coming from thought energy, from what people want. Now, people will say, that when I say that thought has creative power and you can create whatever you want, Some people will say, well, we have not found that to be so. We're surrounded by all sorts of circumstances that we do not desire. Thomas Troward says, yes, you fear them, and in doing so, you think them. And in this way, you are constantly exercising this divine prerogative of creation by thought. Only through ignorance, you use it in the wrong direction. The Book of Divine Instructions constantly repeats, fear not, doubt not, because we can never divest our thought of its inherent creative quality, and the only question is whether we shall use it ignorantly to our injury or understandingly to our benefit. The Master summed up his teaching in the aphorism that knowledge of the truth would make us free. You don't have to do anything. It's not a statement of anything in the future. Truth is what it is. Jesus did not say you must wait until something becomes true, which is not true now. He said, know what is truth now, and you will find that the truth concerning yourself is liberty. If the knowledge of truth makes us free, it can only be because in truth we are free already, only we do not know it. So Thomas Troward suggests our liberty consists in our reproducing on the scale of the individual the same creative power of thought which first brought the world into existence. We are sons and daughters of the Almighty, and by habitually thinking the good, the beautiful, and the true, surround ourselves with conditions corresponding to our thoughts, and by our teaching and example, help others to do the same. It is your birthright as sons and daughters of the Almighty to think the good, think the beautiful, and think the true. And then you surround yourself with conditions that correspond to your thinking. If your thinking is in alignment with what's going on in the world that you don't agree with, you don't like, you're looking at hatred and violence and lack and poverty, your thoughts are creating more of that. Your thoughts are powerful energy. You can think whatever you want, but your thoughts become your environment. Your thoughts become your reality. Your thoughts become your experience. Thomas Troward said, if thought power is good for anything, it is good for everything. If it can produce one thing, it can produce all things. Nothing can stop us from thinking. We can think what we please. And if to think is to form, then we can form what we please. The whole question, therefore, resolves itself into this. Is it true that to think is to form? If so, do we not see that our limitations are formed in precisely the same way as our expansions? We think that conditions outside our power, our thoughts have power over us, and so we think power into them. So the great question of life is whether there is anything else that creates our life but our thought power. Both religion and philosophy lead us to the truth that in the beginning there was no other creative power than spirit, and the only mode of activity we can possibly attribute to spirit is thought. And so we find thought as the root of all things. And if this is the case in the beginning, it must still be so. For if all things originate in thought, all things must be modes of thought. Where do your thoughts take you? To the beautiful ideas of what you want? Perfect health, peace, loving relationships? You can think thoughts into form, but it's not just thinking about. You must have your heart in coherence with your thought energy, with your brain power, with your mind. So when your thought and emotions are in coherence, then what you want shows up. You can't be truly desiring something that you really, really, really want, and then emotionally fearing that you'll never have it, or looking for evidence that it's not here yet, or complaining that you're seeing and experiencing the opposite. Your heart speaks the emotion of love. Your subconscious mind is run through emotion. You must not only think about what you want, but you must be emotionally involved in the end result. How much you love it, how badly do you want it, how happy and healthy and wealthy you would feel if your life was the way you would prefer it. When you think about your deepest desire, rather than getting anxious or sad or fearful, you must train your mind and your heart to feel what it would be like once your desire is already your experience. How would it feel if you knew your love life was fantastic, faithful, loyal, loving, respectful? What could you do to have your marriage back in the honeymoon stage where you loved your spouse and you knew that they loved you? You felt that tenderness, that devotion. Think of a time when you were the happiest. You felt free. You felt totally liberated. You knew that life was wide open. You could do, be, have whatever you wanted. And you were so excited for the life that you wanted to create. Go back to that feeling. Everything is new. Everything is bright. Everything is light. That's how you're supposed to be living. That's how God intended you to live, with a lightness in your heart, divine love, knowing that you are surrounded, you are filled with divine loving energy. It might just have been covered up by some life experiences. Those life experiences have caused you to be where you are, but that's not the truth. That's not who you are. That's not the divine spirit working through you. To allow yourself to tap into that beauty, that love, that good, the truth that you are created in God's image. You are perfect. Whatever you've been told or experienced that covers up that light, let go of it. It happened in the past. Leave it in the past. Let it go. There is a livingness in being yourself. And you can put before you an ideal, infinitely grander than anything that you have yet attained. But the only possible way of progress is by following an ideal that is always one stage ahead of you. But it is a matter of growth. You must give thanks for where you are, for what has happened to you, for who you are now, for what life is, and then write about what do you truly desire? What would that feel like? Why would you think you want it so badly? Because you believe in having it, you'll be happier, you'll be healthier, you'll be wealthier, you'll experience more fun, more joy, more love. Well, we've been taught by human beings who have been programmed to think lack and limitation. We've been programmed to think that this is reality. What's going on around us is true. It's here, it's now. But what's going on around us here and now has been created by previous thinking, past actions. Thinking, feeling, and actions are an attitude that has created life as it is. If you want to create something better, you must get into the energetic vibrational frequency of already being loved, already being calm, already being in the state that you wish. You cannot be in the state of anxiety and create loving, beautiful relationships. You must be calm and loving, steady, and knowing that life is unfolding perfectly. Thomas Troward, in his essay on being yourself, says these considerations should make us more confident and more comfortable. We are employing a force which is much greater than we believe ourselves to be, yet it is not separate from us. It is not needing to be persuaded or compelled or inveigled into doing what we want. It is a substratum of our own being, which is continually passing up into manifestation on the visible plane and becoming that personal self to which we often limit our attention without considering whence it proceeds. You might have heard, we think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. Your thoughts, although you think they're invisible, you think you're thinking secretly, your thoughts are projecting life, and what you experience, what you see all around you, is a mirrored reflection of what's going on in your heart, in your mind. Whatever you don't want on the outside, you must train yourself on the inside to become calm, to let go of the anxieties, to let go of the doubts, to release the fears, because fear and faith are both invisible energies. And if you trust in faith, more than you trust in fear, your life will completely change. Troward says, in our truth, the outer self is the surface growth of that individuality which lies concealed far down in the deeps below, and which is none other than the spirit of life which underlies all forms of manifestation. Endeavor to realize what this spirit must be in itself. That is to say, apart from any of the conditions that arise from the various relations which necessarily establish themselves between its various forms of individualization. In its homogeneous self, what else can it be but pure life, essence of life, if you like so to call it? Then realize that as essence of life, it exists in the innermost of every one of its forms of manifestation in as and perfect simplicity as any we can attribute to it in our most abstract conceptions. In this light, we see it to be the eternally self-generating power which, to express itself, flows into form. This universal essence of life is a continual becoming into form. And since we are a part of nature, we do not need to go further than ourselves to find the life-giving energy at work with all its powers. Hence, all we have to do is allow it to rise to the surface. We do not have to make it rise any more than the engineer who sinks the bore pipe for an artesian well has to make the water rise in it. The water does that by its own energy, springing forth as a fountain 100 feet into the air. Just so, we shall find a fountain of essence of life ready to spring up in ourselves, inexhaustible and continually increasing in its flow, as one taught long ago to a woman at a wayside well. This upspringing of life essence is not another's, it is our own. Tap into that source energy that is within you, in your heart of hearts. Tap into that divine loving energy that created you. You were created perfectly, and you've been gifted with the power to think things into form. And you're thinking things into form all the time. So what do you want to think into form? What do you want to experience? What would you love to create? You can't think about hatred and anger and resentment and develop a beautiful, coherent heart-brain energy and create the love that you want to experience. It must come from a true, heartfelt desire and acting as if you already are that. Take some time to get still, to tap into that God energy, that whether you say Holy Spirit, guardian angel, Trinity, God, whatever the God of your higher understanding, whatever the God of your understanding is, take the time to give thanks, to get your heart and mind into alignment, and then your body to take action. You cannot go in two directions at the same time. If you want peace, joy, love, prosperity, health, you must be that at your core, and then that energy radiates from you and attracts everything that matches, everything that's in harmony. You are electromagnetically attracting to you everything that's happening to you, everything that you're thinking about. Watch your thoughts, watch your words. Are you thinking and saying and doing what is in alignment with your greatest good, your higher self, what you say that you want to be and do and have? Embrace the calm. Take the time to slow your heartbeat. Take a deep breath in and write a beautiful idea that speaks to your heart, something that is so meaningful to you, something that you want more than anything. Write about it in the present tense. It's here, it's now, it's waiting for you to get into alignment with that feeling. That feeling energy, along with your thought power, will bring into form everything that you've been thinking. Your dominant thought patterns and your actions create your life experience. Write about what you would love from the point of view of already having it. How would you feel? How would you be acting? How different would your life be now that that is true for you? Think about it, write about it, and take action in the energy that it's already yours. It's here now. Go out and enjoy it. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy this beautiful day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.